Alright, profiling class. Here we are, week 12. Lockdown. Virus overreaction. Week 3. It's so awesome. Get a little Nickelback. I know that's weird, but the song is Burn It to the Ground. Because we're going to talk about fire, arson, typologies today. So we're going to burn it to the ground. We like burning it to the ground. Now, what we need to look at when we start doing this. When you come into this, you're going to already have assumed a couple things have occurred. There's already been a fire investigator that's come to the scene. They've done an investigation. Or maybe you're assisting them in the investigation. Or maybe you're playing both roles. You are the fire investigator and you're going to do the profile of the offender at the same time. We're not going to even start thinking about these typologies, these profiles, until you determine this is a set fire. This is a fire that is not an accident, not natural. You've already determined that this fire is done on purpose. Okay? Now, you can move forward. When we look at these typologies of fire, arsonists, in some of the other areas we've already covered, we're always talking about we want to use the evidence behavioral analysis methodology. Okay? We want to base behaviors on the evidence in the crime scene. Some of that in some of those other crime types can be easy to do because of evidence you find. Some of it is a little more difficult. When you're talking set fires, arson fires, the evidence can be as broad as the item itself that was burned to as questionable as who gains from this item being burned. We don't want to discard any of that. You've got to make an analysis based on the whole complete picture when it's based on a fire. You've determined that it be a set fire, or somebody has. Now you're going to look at what was burned, why it was burned, who gained from it being burned, how it was burned, who first responded, who called it in, who was there when you got there. A lot of times, the people that set a fire in a couple different typologies remain to watch the fire. People go, well, that's just the pyromaniacs. The one. No, there's other typologies that want to watch and enjoy what they've done. So, let's get to it. There's really 6 typologies that we're going to talk about. The first one is the most common typology for a set fire. These arsonists do the most arsons in America, and that is a revenge-motivated fire. These offenders respond to stimulus from other people by acting out against the person they want to get revenge on by starting a fire. Now, this can be as simple as burning a item that the person owns, all the way up to a fire years and years ago in Fort Collins that the guy was mad at an ex-girlfriend when he saw her in a bar with the new boyfriend, followed her home. She went up to her room with the new boyfriend. Her roommate went up to her room with her boyfriend. The guy went and got a can of gasoline, burned the house down, and killed all four of them. Quadruple homicide based on a fire with a revenge motivation. These arsonists will stay and watch their fire. They're getting joy from their revenge. They started this fire for a purpose. I'm pissed. I want to start something on fire. They want to watch because they're getting satisfaction from watching the thing burn. That's why they did it, that revenge factor. I worked in arson. It was a gal. She lit 5 fires in a short amount of time, span of less than a month. And what we finally determined was everybody that pissed off this girl had something of theirs burned. A car. She tried to burn an apartment where her boyfriend was, to burn him and the apartment. Tried to burn a business down. Tried to burn a school down. Okay? Somebody pissed this girl off. She torched it. What we found out later was she came from Illinois. When I was doing background on her, found that she did the same thing in Illinois. Got caught, and part of her sentence was leave the state of Illinois. So she moved to Colorado and picked up and did the same thing she did in Illinois, which we weren't really happy that that's where she came from. We were hoping they would have just incarcerated her in Illinois, but we ended up doing it for her, and we incarcerated her in Colorado. But those were all revenge fires. You make me mad, you dump me as a boyfriend, girlfriend, you do whatever, I'm going to burn your stuff. Revenge fires. They will stay and watch the fire. So when you get there, you hopefully have taken video of the crowd, had uniformed officers go out into the crowd, get people's names, interview them, talk to them, take pictures, who's here. Because a lot of the time, your arsonist is in the crowd. Second typology. These are excitement arsonists. These are the people that physically get excited over starting a fire. Sometimes sexually, sometimes just the excitement factor. But physically, they get excited over the fire. Some people call them all pyromaniacs. That's a specific term for a certain kind of mental problem. We just call them excitement arsonists. The excitement might be physical, like I said, in reference to sexual arousal. It might be excitement at seeing the fire burn. If we're all honest, we like fire. We like to watch it. We go to a campfire, we throw wood in it, we kick stuff in it, we stare into it. Well, there's some people that go a step further. They light a fire because they love to watch it burn. Some people love the excitement of seeing the emergency response. They want to see the cops show up. They want to see the fire engine and the apparatus. They like the lights. They like the noise. They're still an excitement-motivated arsonist. Some of them love being the hero. That's an excitement for them. They start a fire, then they save the people in the house that they tried to burn down. That way they get that excitement of being the hero. That all falls under this category. Third category, fire for vandalism purposes. These are usually going to be juvenile set fires. Again, I just mentioned we like an infatuation with fire. So these people, younger offenders, they're looking at it, they decide to start a dumpster on fire. Start a fire in a yard. Watch it burn. Sometimes this will be an explosion thing. They'll read some bullshit on the internet about, mix 3 or 4 chemicals in a soda bottle and shake it up and it'll explode. That falls under these categories. It's a vandalism type thing. Usually the target of these fires are meaningless things. Okay? Smaller items. I used to always laugh at the kids. They're going to fill a paper bag full of dog crap and throw it on the neighbor's, front porch and ring the doorbell and then watch him as he stomps the fire out. Technically, that'd be kind of a vandalism fire done by a juvenile younger offender. Next one, fourth one. Fire for profit. Everyone assumes this is one of the higher ones for incidents. As we've gotten better as fire investigators, this is less successful time and time again. One of my very first fires ever worked was a guy that tried to burn his bar down because he wanted to remodel and he didn't have the cash flow to remodel. But the idiot lit the fire right in behind the bar in an area that would be logical for an accidental fire. But as the fire grew, it severed, burned through the things that you squirt the automatic soda thing. So now soda leaked all over the fire and put it out. So we got there and it was like, obviously a set fire. And there was no other motivation for anyone else to burn his business. But these are definitely those kind of fires. I want the insurance money. I'm going to burn down my old warehouse so I can knock it down and build a new building. I'm going to remodel my restaurant. I don't have the cash flow. I'm going to burn the business so I can remodel my business. These are all for-profit fires. Obviously, they're set fires, and you're going to find that the only reason that this fire occurred is because the people wanted to do something like that. A lot of times in these fires, you'll find personal items removed. Somebody burns their house down for the insurance money. They're taking all the family pictures off the walls. They're taking all the mementos, of little Johnny's clay figures that he made in the 3rd grade that mom doesn't want to get rid of. That stuff's all gone. In an accidental fire, that stuff's not all gone. That stuff's in the fire. You'll find it. You go into a house that's been burned, set fire, and you find a bunch of personal items removed. It's probably a profit fire. They remove these items because those things are worth more than the money they're going to get from setting the fire. 5th one, crime concealment. I liked working these. I really did. Because you got to work 2 crimes in one. You got to work the arson, the fire, and you got to work the crime that they did, that they were trying to cover up. This can be any crime. Covering up a burglary, covering up a robbery. One of my favorite ones is covering up a homicide. Stabbed his wife to death in bed, then lit the house on fire. The reason these people do these crimes, these fires, is they believe the fire is going to consume all the evidence from the original crime they're trying to conceal, and it's going to consume any evidence of the set fire. Fire investigator comes in, determines it's a set fire. Now you start looking at the evidence that points to another crime being committed. In the case of the one where it's the homicide, now you find a body in your fire. How'd the body die? The autopsy, the cause of death on the body, is going to be critical in determining how this, was it a crime, concealment, death, because the death took place prior to the fire, or did the person die as a cause of the fire? That's your first step to determine if it was a homicide prior to the fire. And then from there, you just work it into any other crime. If you say it was a burglary they were concealing, and you determine that, now you work that second part as a burglary investigation. We already covered that in a previous chapter. If you're going to work it as a homicide, now you're going to do a death investigation. We already covered that chapter, so I'm not going to go into that. Once you determine it was a crime, concealment, arson, now you work the other crime just like we explained it in those other chapters. Last one is a fire for an extremist. A fire for a cause. Fire or explosion for terrorism. Now, get out of your head the whole political nonsense of working the cause. Leave that to the feds. They love the cause. They love making big political points, and politicians love stomping their feet and waving their flag about the cause. That's not your job. Your job is to make a case, a criminal case, on a set fire or an explosion. And you do it by solving what group, what cause was the reason of this fire. One of the famous ones in Colorado, they burned the big ski chalet down on Vail Mountain. It was an eco-terrorist group. They didn't like that Vail Mountain was going to expand their terrain and cut down some trees. So they went up there and they torched this. So, now you determine it's a set fire. You see what causes, who had a beef with Vail Mountain, who had a reason to do it. You're going to go through all of those things. Was it a disgruntled employee? That'd be a revenge fire. Was it a profit fire? They needed the money. Was it a cause fire? Somebody pissed off at Vail for being Vail. Don't let your investigation go deep into the cause. Your investigation needs to be about proving how they started the fire so that you can charge them with arson. That's the point. Now, once you know the cause, you've got motivation behind the fire. That's important. You've got intent. That's something you need to prove. But don't go crazy in the politics of the cause. Determine the cause, determine the group, build your case. That's how you do it. So there you go. Those are the 6 typologies. Those are the ones we're going to work with. Those are pretty much every fire is going to fall under one of those. Don't forget you've got an assignment out there. You've got a discussion post out there. Don't forget to do your Ramsey stuff. And we'll see you next time.